One of the interesting things about listening to a singer-songwriter is the way that often they can articulate some of our deepest feelings, our greatest joys and our deepest sufferings, putting them in such a way that we begin to look at those pains and joys in our own lives. And as we listen to the words of the singer-songwriter, we gradually come into contact with ourselves and we begin to grow as individuals. The same's true of stand-up comedians. Stand-up comedians can often talk about the most painful of things, the most humiliating of things, but in ways that we find refreshing and funny. Or take the professional mourners. There was a time where people would be paid to cry at funerals, because sometimes you're in so much pain that you need to watch somebody else crying so that you can access the suffering that is within you. Without the singer-songwriter or the professional mourner or the stand-up comedian, we might not be able to look at our suffering and be able to overcome it. In contrast, sometimes we just go out and get drunk to forget about our suffering. But the problem there is, while it works on the night, the next day we feel exactly the same as before. And so we have to go back and repeat it again and again. In some religious circles, church can be like that drunken night out, a more socially acceptable form of it, where we go and we feel great and we feel happy and we forget about our sufferings for a little while. But then the next day we leave and we're in the same place. And so we have to go back again and again to try to get that high. Transformance art is about creating a space that is more like the singer-songwriter or the professional mourner or the stand-up comedian. We bring together a rich blend of music, poetry, art and ritual to explore and participate in the central event of Christianity. We lay our various identities at the door. There's no Jew or Gentile, slave or free, male or female. There's no Republican or Democrat or any other identities that we would bring. We lay them to one side and we encounter each other beyond the colour of each other's eyes. Emmanuel Levinas once said that if you're really listening to somebody, really engaged with them, you don't see the colour of their eyes anymore because you're engaged at a deeper level with them. In Transformance Art, we attempt to get to that space. We create a space where, so as not to offend anybody, we actually try to offend everybody. In Transformance Art, we try to sensitize ourselves to one another. We confront ourselves and we confront each other so that we can finally learn what it means to live before we die.